Congresswoman Janet Garin binanatan si Dr. Tony Lechon, sinasabing nagpapangap na eksperto at politicizing healthcare issue. It's all about anomalies in PhilHealth, which she discoursed sa kanyang privileged speech sa House of Representatives. PhilHealth members should watch this. But before that, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.
Slide PowerPoint, if I may request the Secretariat to please flash it.
Hour.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, magandang hapon po sa lahat. I actually have a 3-slide PowerPoint, if I may request the Secretariat to please flash it. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, sa mga nakaraang araw na ito, tila rinig na rinig natin ang kaliwat kanang mga hinaing tungkol sa kalusugan. But mind you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, myself being a doctor and being a mother at that, can see the handwritings on the wall. Yung ibang mga ingay ay legitimate naman. Pero karamihan at tila yung mga taong nagpapanggap na eksperto ay halatang-halatang namumulitika. We should stop politicizing public health, and that is why, Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker, I asked for the indulgence of this august body to take a few minutes of your time to look into the picture of how much and to what extent public health has already been politicized. Next slide, please. Bigla ang lumabas ang kaliwat kanang nagpapa-interview sa media. While doctors are working busy in their clinics, and those in the academe are busy mentoring their students, and scientists are busy in the field and their laboratories, there are just some who love chaos and cannot live if they don't create chaos, pretending to be experts in every aspect of the medical field, where in reality they just want to grab airtime. Kaliwat kanan ang narinig natin na sinasabing, o yung tingog, bakit nakipagpirmahan sa PhilHealth? Hindi dapat makialam ang tingog dyan kasi andyan dyan ang DOH at ang DILG. At hindi dapat pasukin ng bawat kongresista ang problema ng kalusugan. Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, this is a twisted interpretation of how legislators should work. Yes, we legislate. We are the voices of our people, but we also look into the gaps that needs our urgent help. Hindi naman sinasabing bawal tumulong ang iba. At yung mga maiingay dyan na nagpapanggap na eksperto, na mga peking eksperto naman, I dare them to come out in the open and do the tasks and the gaps that are present in our current public health system. Why am I doing this, Mr. Speaker? Kasi nakakasama ng loob, especially for some legislators like me who understands what's happening inside. Na politikahin pa ito, ilagay sa headlines at maraming nakikisakay dahil paparating na ang panahon ng eleksyon. Let us talk about universal healthcare. Kasi Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, ang daming lumalabas na ang sinasabi, mali yan, mali ito. Dapat wala dyan ang mga politiko. Dapat wala dyan ang mga elected officials. Because we would like to achieve universal health care. In the first place, Mr. Speaker, the law is flawed in the first place. May mga butas at killer provisions ang batas na ito at itong mga nagpapanggap na ekspertong iba na may ingay ay tila author ng mga naging killer provisions in our universal healthcare law. I am standing, Mr. Speaker, because I cannot tolerate the hypocrisy that is happening. Sino-sino ba ang nagpasok sa universal healthcare law ng panukalang batas na instead na DOH ang magpatakbo ng UHC ay PhilHealth? Sino-sino ba yung mga magagaling at nagkunwaring mga eksperto na minandate sa ating bansa na lahat ng gamot, bakuna, and medical devices should pass through phase 4 clinical trials, where in fact, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, sa buong bansa, Phase 3A is the proof of safety and efficacy, and Phase 3A is the basis of issuance of the Certificate of Product Registration. Sa madaling salita, Phase 3A ang ginagawang requirement ng buong mundo, including the US and the EU and Japan and Singapore and even all the other 12 WHO accredited laboratories. Sa madaling salita, linagyan ng probisyon ang universal health care para hindi magamit ni Juan at ni Maria ang mga bagong gamot, kagaya na lang ng mga gamot sa cancer. Linagay ang PhilHealth, that is an insurance policy, as the prime agency in providing universal health care, where in fact, it should be DOH. Ano pang isang butas na linagay doon? Masyadong in-empower ang health technology assessment. Maganda naman ang health technology assessment ng ibang mga bansa. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, na wala ka namang permanenteng mga tao na siya ay nakalodge sa DOST, na ang desisyon niya ay walang sense of urgency at napakatagal. Tila patay na ang kabayo bago pa binigay ang damo. In other words, Mr. Speaker, ang daming gamot, ang daming bakuna, ang daming medical devices na hindi pwedeng bilhin ng gobyerno at lahat tayo ay napipilitang bumili sa pribadong sektor. That is the universal healthcare law that was approved, and that is a fact. Ang tanong, sino ang mga magagaling na nag-insert ng killer provisions na ito? Nagpumalakpak at nagpalakpakan ang madlang people nung sinabing may batas na tayo ng universal healthcare law. Ang tanong, bakit hindi natin ito nararamdaman? Bakit hanggang ngayon napaka-imposibleng maramdaman ng bawat Pilipino ang universal healthcare law? Dahil pampapogi lang ang ginawang batas. Kaakibat ng batas na yon ay ang 2 at 3 killer provisions. Let me move forward, Mr. Chair. Ano ba ang problema ng ating usaping kalusugan? Yes, we have PhilHealth. 3 po ang dapat na major factors and players when we talk about kalusugan. Kalusugang pangkalahatan, universal healthcare. Ano po itong 3? Unang-una, infrastruktura. Pangalawa, healthcare, human resource, personnel. Pangatlo, insurance. Dahil kaakibat ng infrastruktura, building at mga gamit na itatayo ng either national government or local governments because of the law of devolution, dapat may tao yan para paandarin. At kapag umandar na yan, we talk about sustainability. And how can it be sustainable? By PhilHealth. Yan ang totoong mga elemento ng kalusugan. But let us talk about what is the situation in the Philippines. Magtatayo ng mga hospital, pero hirap na hirap ang ibang mga LGUs and even national hospitals. Maglalagay ng mga tao, pero kulang na kulang. At ang pinakapuso ng kalusugan, ang insurance mechanism to make it sustainable, ay nahihirapan. Bakit? Dahil tingi-tingi ang pag-construct ng hospital. Dahil tingi-tingi ang paglagay ng tao. Dahil tingi-tingi ang ginagawa, kaya hindi siya ma-accredit ng PhilHealth. Well, this is a problem at the level of the national government. This is not so much of a big problem. Why? Because in terms of economies of scale and in terms of funding, they are well supported by the national government through the Department of Health. Pero iilan lang ito, 1 o 2 sa bawat rehiyon. Ilan tayo sa buong Pilipinas? Ilan ang ating local government units? Ilan ang ating barangay? Ilan ang ating bayan? And we have a devolved healthcare. Tagalogin na po natin. the power on providing health care to our people is actually devolved. Pero tumutulong pa rin ang DOH. Kaya nga, nagkakandahirap ang lahat-lahat. And that is why, when I saw the signing of the Memorandum of Agreement between PhilHealth, PBP, and Tingog Party List, I told myself, at last, there is somebody who has the political will to carry on the tasks that was supposed to be there, but that was stopped. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I am not standing because the Tingog representative is my colleague and my kababayan. But I am standing simply because we still have not learned from the crab mentality that resides in some of the minds and of the hearts of some fake experts pretending to be health advocates. And why am I saying so? Ano ba ang problema? Pag-usapan natin ang katotohanan. Ilang LGU hospitals ang accredited ng PhilHealth? Ilang city health offices ang accredited ng PhilHealth? Ilang rural health units ang accredited ng PhilHealth? Ilang barangay health station ang accredited ng PhilHealth? Ilang bayan ang may paanakan na accredited ng PhilHealth? Ilang bayan ang may ospital na napupuntahan ng ating kababayan? Why are we afraid to speak the numbers? Dahil yung mga ito ay hindi kinakayanan ang epekto ng devolution. And the mere intention of that Memorandum of Agreement, as I was seeing it, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, is magkaroon ng katulong. May we request the Secretariat to flash the second slide? The next slide, please. Next slide, please. Reviews. Next slide, please. The summary. Next slide, please. Yan. Ang nakalagay sa MOA, ang nakasaad doon ay ang suporta sa local government units by helping them access. The technical assistance that will be provided addresses one of the main bottlenecks of healthcare financing. Alam na alam nating lahat ng mga kongresista dito at alam din ng ating mga kababayan, many of the local government units does not have the technical capability to prepare documents for healthcare borrowings. Financial projections, kaya ba nilang gawin yon? Hospital development, kaya ba nilang gawin yon? Ang pangkaraniwang nangyayari, those who can afford will outsource from technical consultants na napakamahal. Those who can afford will get the inputs of the professionals who are financially literate. Pero pag-usapan natin ang 7 bayan sa aking distrito, ni walang isa doon ang kayang gumawa ng hospital development plan. Kasi nga sa usaping kalusugan, yung nag-iisang doktor doon, siya na ang bahala sa family health, siya ang bahala sa vaccination, siya ang bahala sa preventive healthcare, siya ang bahala sa TB, sa AIDS, sa diabetes, sa hypertension, sa cancer, name it. One-man army ang labas ng ating mga rural health physicians. And here you are, telling the government, bawal ang MOA na yan. Hindi na nga kaya ng ating rural health physician ang kanyang trabaho sa dami ng admin tasks. Ngayon, papagawain mo pa siya ng financial projections, gagawa pa siya ng hospital development plan, pupunta pa siya paulit-ulit sa DBP para defend yung kanyang proposal. Gagawa pa siya ng project proposal at napakaraming papel. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, let us not be hypocrites. Let us allow those who would like to help our people. It is not Filipino to be an advocate of crab mentality. It is not Filipino to pretend that you would like to be a health reform advocate where in fact, puro ka lang salita at wala kang gawa. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, sino ba dito ang makakapagsabing we are near universal health care? Where in fact, they are not accredited because they need the capital. Ang sinasabi ng iba na namayagpag sa radyo at sa telebisyon ng mga nakaraang araw, andyan naman yung DOH, andyan naman yung DILG. Bakit? Ilan ba sa ating mga bayan at mga probinsya ang tinulungan ng DOH mag-apply ng loan sa financial institutions. Ilan ba sa ating mga bayan, probinsya at syudad ang tinulungan ng DILG para mag-apply ng utang or loans nila para sa kanilang sariling development? In other words, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, naiintindihan naman natin ang hinaing ng lahat ukol sa usapang kalusugan. Pero ang hindi ko naiintindihan, ang kaplastikan na nagpapanggap ng mga eksperto, subalit alam natin na isa sila o iisa sila sa mga iilang elemento na sumira sa totoong universal healthcare law. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, ang narinig kong paulit-ulit na salita for the past days, DOH should provide all. But Mr. Speaker, health is devolved. Ano ba ang gusto nila? Pagka naman hindi mo sundin ang batas, makukulong ang mga doktor natin sa DOH. Ang sabi pang pangalawa, PhilHealth is being politicized. It is fund meddling. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, hindi pa pwedeng wala ang PhilHealth. Dahil ang insurance ang tanging mekanismo that makes health provision sustainable. In other words, pag wala ang PhilHealth, patay ang healthcare facility. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, yours truly, crafted, is the author of the Medical Assistance Program. Wala pa po ang malasakit, nagsimula po yan sa MAP or the Medical Assistance Program, which was later on changed in name into Malasakit Program. But it's basically the Medical Assistance Program that I myself crafted, created, had it implemented and funded, and improved when I joined the Department of Health. Mag-allocate daw ng budget. Hindi raw kailangan ang mga MOA na ito. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, did we see the trillions needed to establish healthcare facilities all over our country? Kung hihintayin natin na matapos ito na pondohan ng gobyerno, marami na ang namatay or mamamatay. Dahil hindi natin itong kayang tapusin in the immediate vicinity. While millions of Filipinos are being deprived of accessible healthcare simply because we have fake experts and fake advocates who are fond of concocting baseless stories and theories, andi dito tayo natatali sa usaping kalusugan at hindi naman natin pinag-uusapan ang totoong problema. Ang totoong problema, iilan lang ang PhilHealth accredited. Bakit? Hindi kaya ng ating mga lokal na gobyerno na pondohan ito. At kung kaya man nilang pondohan, hindi nila kayang magpasweldo ng mga tao. At kung kaya mang magpasweldo at meron namang infrastruktura at mga gamit, napakabagal naman ng reimbursement. Kaya hindi makaikot at makausad yung ating healthcare facilities. What is wrong with helping them? What is wrong with coming up with an advocacy to help? I challenge the reform and the advocates coming out in media. Walk your talk. Wag puro daldal, wag puro salita. Gawa ang kailangan. Kung hindi ba tingog ang nakipagpirmahan doon, mag-iingay ba ng ganito? Kung sila ba ang nakapirma doon sa Memorandum of Agreement, kaliwat kanan ng mga kamera naman ang namayagpag, pero hindi naman ramdam ni Juan at na Maria de la Cruz. If the technical expertise is being offered, I would not put malice on it. Kasi wala ka namang kukunin. Dagdag na trabaho na gagawin ng mga tao at staff mo sa Kongreso. Kung hindi maingay ang politika ngayon kasi mag-ieleksyon, makikigulo ba tayo? On whose expense? Ulit-ulitin ko, Mr. Speaker, walang pinipigilan na tumulong. Walang pinipigilan na mag-assist. Walang pinipigilan na gumawa ng hospital development plan. Walang pinipigilang gumawa ng financial projections. Ang tanging bottleneck lang nito ay yung mga nag-o-offer ay napakamahal ng singil, samantalang yung isa natin ditong kasama ay nakapag-isip na gawin itong libre. At dapat nga marami pa ang gumawa ng ganitong tulong dahil napakarami ng ating mga bayan na kailangang tulungan. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, kami mga taga-probinsya ay witness sa kakulangan ng facilities at pondo para sa kalusugan. Yung mga available na government financial institutions na yan, ilang ulit ko na yan narinig simula pa noong 2004, nung ako'y unang natuntong ng Kongreso. At simula pa nung ako'y naging 18 anyos at naging advocate ng kalusugan, naririnig ko na yan palagi. But the main problem is this. Once they offer, once the requirements come out, una gagawin ng mga bayan. Pero isa, dalawang requirement, hirap na. And yung ending, walang nakaka-avail. Wala naman silang pondo para kumuha ng napakamahal na mga consultant na gumagawa ng hospital development plan and financial technical documents. Bakit natin ito pipigilan? Anybody is welcome to help. So let us do away with crab mentality. Let us focus on the real problem at hand. Walang universal health care dahil kulang na kulang ang accredited, PhilHealth accredited financial institutions. Mabagal yung pagbayad ng PhilHealth. Kulang ang tulong ng national government kasi napakalawak. And of course, the major predicament is that we are faced with a devolved health care. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, nung pumutok ang pandemya, nabuksan ang mata at utak ng mga doktor at siyentipiko sa napakalaki naming problema. And this has been thoroughly discussed. In fact, this is a continuing aspect of what we are talking for the past years. And let me point to the term or the word coined as infodemic. Infodemic is defined as the rapid and far spread of both accurate and inaccurate medical information. If I laymanize it, infodemic simply means fake news. Fake medical news, fake medical information, fake medical experts, fake advocates. At ang sabi ng World Health Organization, let us flatten the infodemic curve. Laymanizing it again, ang sabi ng WHO, kung gusto nating maging malusog at maligaya yung ating mga bayan at ating mga probinsya, tutulan natin ang mga peking medical information. Tutulan natin ang mga peking eksperto. Tutulan natin ang mga peking advocates. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, puntahan natin ang katotohanan. Yes, we have a universal healthcare law. Maganda pakinggan. Nagpalakpakan si Juan at si Maria. Pero ang katotohanan, this will not deliver healthcare unless we amend that law. Kaakibat doon ang membership ng PhilHealth. Bakit magulo? Kasi hanggang ngayon, hindi na ipagpatuloy yung sinimulan na individual membership ng PhilHealth noong 2016. Nagkaroon ng budget na 80 million, pinutol. Ano po ba yun? Individual membership. Pagkapanganak, miyembro. Pagka namatay, tanggal sa lista. At babayaran yan isa-isa ng ating gobyerno at ng ating mga employers. What does this mean? Mawawala yung mga taong doble or triple ang pag-enroll. Mawawala yung mga taong hindi totoo pero naka-enroll pa rin doon sa PhilHealth. Because this has been proven time and again. Why can't it be reformed? Because every time an administration changes, the real syndicate inside PhilHealth are all crumbling up. Nakakapasok sa kung sino yung mga nasa poder at bumabalik ulit tayo sa step 1. In other words, every reform that is being initiated ay napapaatras at hindi naaabante dahil sa pagpalit ng administrasyon, umaarangkada ulit yung mga sindikato na nasa loob. With the many problems besetting PhilHealth, specifically on fraud, on a faulty IT, and an unreliable membership list, yours truly put forward a proposal called Medical Assistance Program way back in 2014. Pinalitan ito at naging MAIP, and that was very restrictive because the definition of indigency is very broad. At ngayon nga, gumanda pa ito lalo. Dahil hindi na lang pang-gobyerno ng mga facilities, kundi pati na rin ang pribado, specifically in areas that there is no government service with regards to healthcare. And now it is called MAIFIP. Nung nakaraan, yung MAP ay pinalitan ng pangalan, ginawang Malasakit. But this was basically the program that I started. And why did I do that, Mr. Chair? Simply because yung bawas ng PhilHealth sa gastusing pangkalusugan ng bawat Pilipino ay napakaliit. Dagdag tayo ng dagdag ng pondo sa PhilHealth, but it does not redound to bigger benefits. Pag dinagdagan naman ang benepisyo, meron namang mga iilang ospital at iilang doktor na lalakihan nila ang individual prices ng kanilang gamot at mga testing and even professional fees. In other words, Mr. Speaker, the medical assistance program was there as an alternative. Why? Dahil hindi ini-invest ang pera sa kung saan-saan para kumita, kundi ginagamit direkta sa tao. Yung bawas sa gastusin, pangkalusugan ay mas malaki ikumpara sa binabawas ng PhilHealth. It was supposed to be a stepping stone. It was supposed to be a parallel move para instead na napupunta malaking pera at bilyon-bilyon sa PhilHealth, nahahati ito at nalalagay sa medical assistance program kung saan mas mabilis at immediate yung discount o yung binibigay na pangbawas sa gastusing kalusugan. In other words, Mr. Chair, this was being done. Why? Because at that time, only 3% of our rural health facilities was PhilHealth accredited. At that time, many of our LGU hospitals had suspended services with PhilHealth dahil kulang ng espesyalista, kulang ng tao, o may kailangan sa infrastruktura. At that time, 0.28% of our barangay health stations were accredited. At kaya nga lumabas ang ating financial institutions, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, para bigyan ng breathing space yung ating mga LGUs at gawing accredited yung kanilang mga facilities. But again, the bottleneck of technical requirements, hospital development plan, financial projections, at yung lahat pa na kailangang gawin, ay yun naman ang naging problema nito. Kaya nga, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, it would have been better that instead of criticizing the MOA entered into by DBP, PhilHealth, and Tingog Party List, sana naging ehemplo ito sa iba para tumulong din. Mr. Speaker, ang kalusugan ay dapat hindi pinupolitika. Nakatatak sa puso at isipan ng bawat pamilyang Pilipino ang kalusugan. And that is why it is the very core and the very topic that is always attacked by fake experts and fake advocates, using it to cloak their real intent, which is actually politicking. Kaya naman, ang kalusugan ang siyang naging pinto na pinapasok at landas na tinatahak ng mga taong mapanira, cloaked in the guise of being a health advocate. Subalit ang katotohanan ay umaalingas-ngas. Na itong maiingay ay para lamang punahin ang magandang intensyon ng iba. Yung makita sila, makapagsalita sila, makuha ang atensyon ng iba, mamayagpag yung kanilang pagiging lobbyist, but at the same time, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, ilang magagandang batas ang nasira dahil sa fake experts na lumalaganap sa ating bansa. Ilang mga totoong doktor at scientist ang sinira ng ibang mga walang magawa, kundi gusto lamang magkaroon ng airtime. Ilang mga tao ang gustong tumulong pero natatakot na lamang dahil baka punahin at mapolitika yung kanilang intensyon. But at the end, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, the real losers are the Filipino people. Let's all stand up to curb, if not crush, infodemic. Let us all stand up to criticize fake experts and fake advocates. There should be no tolerance for crab mentality in the name of health. There should be full accountability among people who twist information, confuse the public, and lambast public health, because they are not worth being called Filipinos. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, with all intention, I appeal to all of you that we work together. Crush hypocrisy. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Majority Leader.